I want to talk to Liam. Liam from Louisiana. Liam from Louisiana, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hi, guys. Big fan of the show. First time calling in. A little bit nervous. I didn't have a medical question, but I had a question for MD Aware. He said it was you said you grew up being raised Catholic?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I'm living in New Orleans, and I'm an ex-evangelical myself, and so I haven't really ever been that involved in Catholicism. I've just become aware of the Catholic practice of red mass. Are you familiar with that?
It rings a bell, but I don't remember the details. Can you remind me?
Well, sure. I'm just trying to get some more information myself and just kind of make sure that I didn't wake up in some alternate timeline. It just sounds so nefarious. From what I understand, you can have a mass in celebration of anything or an appreciation of anything. And this is one specifically where I'm reading off okay. So this is an appreciation of judges, lawyers, and government officials.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at this too.
Right.
Yeah, so I've never heard of this, which is really interesting. So yeah, members of the legal profession, regardless of religious affiliation, judges, lawyers, law school professors, law students, and government officials, marking the opening of the judicial year. Okay, so basically asking to seek justice.
Yeah, right off the bat, that sounds like a backdoor, networking.
That sounds so sketchy. Yeah, that's like the breakfast. What's it called? The prayer breakfast. The prayer breakfast that they do every year, which is just one big networking event for politicians and people who work in religious. Like that just sounds like a networking event for the Catholic Church, doesn't it? That's really interesting.
Totally. I mean, you guys are lucky in the States. We're very progressive in Canada on a lot of these social issues, but we still don't have a separation between religion and government that's enshrined in law.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we keep forgetting about that. I heard a British person speaking about that said, that's one thing you Americans have got right. You don't have, a requirement that a certain number of your congressmen are, officials from the church.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's so interesting, though, because even though that is the case, I feel like Canadian and a lot of European politics ends up being more secular anyway. Like American politicians definitely use religion to their advantage, which is such an interesting phenomenon. But
yeah, it is. It's very odd. And Scandinavian countries are similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing that's got me, though, that I'm kind of taking this personally. Sorry if I kind of turned into a small rant, but in New Orleans, I mean, we shut down the city basically for a Catholic holiday for Mardi Gras the day before Ash Wednesday. So we're all kind of used to it right now. And Catholicism is undoubtedly intertwined with politics, but it's kind of this back room. You can't really prove it. But I've been reaching out to some people because, right on the official page for the mayor, on Facebook, she sent out an invitation. I just pulled it back up. The city of New Orleans and the inaugural committee invite you to join the inaugural events for the incoming mayor. The first event listed on this invitation is an inaugural mass. So right next to the inauguration ceremony. So it's above the board.
Yeah. I believe that for New Orleans, though. I mean, Liam, you may not know this about me. I'm actually was born in New Orleans. That's originally where most of my family is from. I talk about that I'm from the Waco area, and that's true. I grew up there, but my family is from the New Orleans area. I go there almost once a year. I go see it every time. It's an interesting city because you could have giant Catholic churches on one corner, and literally right across the street, a psychic will read you your palms and stuff. It's just a really weird city to be in. But Louisiana itself has the craziest political history of any other state. I will fight you on this. Okay. You got to look up Huey P. Long and look up all these politicians. Every year, they do these indexes on corruption in governments and stuff. And they do this for countries and they do this for states. Louisiana has proven to be the most corrupt state in the United States when it comes to stuff. I mean, you check on the news and there's always people being arrested for money going somewhere or something. So I don't know. We can only speculate. We can only
Yeah.
speculate, but I would not be surprised if there are people there who maybe are getting some lawyers for some certain cases that need to happen, or things like that, or really want to make those benefits happen. I have no idea,
Right.
but it's definitely possible.
Because
Definitely possible.
It just blows me away that it's just right there in black and white on the whole internet that, using, city resources and in the name of the city of New Orleans, inviting you to a religious event. And I mean, I've reached out to just in the past couple of days to, Americans United for the Separation of Church and State, because if you think about it, if they're using city resources in the name of the city, I fund the city. I pay taxes here. And so they're compelling my participation in the promotion of a religious event.
Yeah.
It's a clear violation of the 14th Amendment.
That is definitely true. It's just
right out there in the open.
Yeah, and Louisiana too, like I think people outside the United States, you can understand too, it's a different, because when people think of the southern United States, they usually think of this kind of Protestant, sort of Baptist culture. Louisiana is very different from the rest of the U.S. and the rest of the South. It's a very Catholic area, so Catholic, in fact, it's the only state in the U.S. that isn't separated by counties, but by parishes. And it's because of the religious history of the state, right? And you've got so many churches there. Most of the population there is Catholic. It's just a historical fact. But you've also, again, you've got these weird intersections where, like, you go down like the French Quarter and you'll just see like voodoo shops, again, just right next to Catholic artwork. It's all kind of intermixed together. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but like,
it's almost like it's a cultural thing rather than a truly religious thing, right?
I think it is for a lot of people, but there are a lot of people who take it very seriously too. I mean, you got that mix of both, but it's just a weird city. Go ahead, Liam.
I didn't know that you had grown up around here. That's fantastic. I'm an import myself, but I've dug in. I've ridden out 2 hurricanes, and so I'm know until I die now. But I will agree that there is a special capacity for cognitive dissonance here, because New Orleans Catholics believe that when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. But they believe in ghosts. They believe ghosts.
They got ghost tours all over the freaking city, right? And like, there's a lot of cemeteries in New Orleans too, because they just had. I don't know. There's a big tradition of Catholics having a lot of these tombstones and stuff. Not tombstones, like what do you call it? Where
mausoleums,
sepulchers, right? Sepulchers.
Sepulchers,
mausoleums. Okay. Those outside graves. You see those all over the place. Once a year, the All Saints Day, they go out and they clean those mausoleums and stuff. It's definitely a big part of the culture. But yeah, I agree. It's another thing of cognitive dissonance, right? Where you can have these very huge outward displays of faith, but then if you really look at like the day-to-day lives of some of these people, it's kind of just whatever. So I don't know. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. But Liam,
I'll let you move on to other things. But I did want to push back on one thing. All what you said is true, but the more I look into it, it isn't just a New Orleans fluke, because they have these all over the country. And I've been reading recently about there's one in Washington D.C., a red mass. Like coincidentally, when it is the day before the Supreme Court goes into session.
No way. Is it really? Oh,
yeah.
No.
And I'm sitting here looking at this going, did someone hack Wikipedia and post all that? Am I being trolled right now? I'm just wondering what world I woke up in. But no, I'm finding other sources for it where some people have, Americans United has gone to the mass before.
Wow.
And, it's a real thing.
That's just priming.
It's something that I think we really need to stop and look at. Yes.
Yeah.
That is really interesting, Liam. I didn't know about the red masses. That's a new term for me. Thank you for introducing me to that. And good luck with your stays in the city. Cool thing about New Orleans is that they have been actually mandating that you show your vaccine card when you go into places and stuff, which I think is a good idea to do. I wish other places were doing that.
You don't all do that?
But no, not in Texas. No.
Oh,
absolutely not. No, people aren't even enforcing the mask stuff anymore around
we're
here.
Like here in Toronto, we're like locked down basically. Like movie theaters are closed, indoor dining's closed, bars are closed, everything's closed.
Yeah, it's not the same. Not the same. And it's probably why we're seeing these surges in cases. So. But what do I know? I just host a show.